You dropped a lot of jewels for us there. I want to segue into your particular journey that you embarked on recently and that shift, how you went from what you was doing before to starting to realize, hey, maybe I should put drinking in a perspective, and how you are wind up 7 to 8 weeks sober. And I do want to preface this with that you may not have had an addiction issue or nothing like that. It just may be a period in your life where you felt like you wanted to transform or change a few things. Can you talk about your relationship with alcohol and just how you got to this point and where you're at? Because there's a lot of excitement I see in you when it comes to that, and that's what brought us here together on Sober is Dope.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm fired up for this this journey that I'm on, and the reality is like I don't know if I would call it an addiction, but what I will say is I created so many terrible circumstances in my life, self-inflicted, due to my consistency in holding on to this vice and not like finding the right time to let go. There were plenty of times where it was absolutely at a detrimental state in my life, relationships with loved ones, financial troubles. I was homeless. I was in circumstances that were like super dire straits, and I just consistently was not, finding clarity of space because I just wasn't ready to understand it was time to let go. In my family, drinking is, a severe regularity where individuals don't come to grips with saying like it's alcoholism, but it's a normalcy to be in celebratory situations when we get together and have countless amounts of bottles, and drinking and smoking is a major aspect as well in our environments. With the large group of my family members and friends as well. Like it was always the go-to for celebration, and I always wanted to be the life of the party when it comes to that bottle. So like I done downed so many handles of Hennessy bottles to the face. From Hennessy to Glenlivet, all kinds of like, just detrimental to the body drinking. And I always, when I would make mistakes, whenever I would do something that was like detrimental to myself, I always used it as the, I was messed up. Like, I was so tipsy last night. I was twisted. I don't know what I was thinking. I always utilize that as if, okay, this makes it okay. So, I had some circumstances that, were super severe. One specific instance, I was on tour in Europe. I went on a tour in Europe. I'm not gonna throw plenty individuals' names out there because I don't know how they feel comfortable in certain environments. But I was on tour in Europe, and it was a pretty big tour. I was traveling. This was like 2016, and we having a great successful tour. I think we had like about 16 shows going on. I will say it was a tour with the Artifacts and my homie Edo G. Shout out to Edo G and the Artifacts, and my crew, the Bullies. We were traveling all over, and this one particular stop we were in was in Copenhagen, and I got into a drinking contest with another MC, and got to the point where I was so obliterated, I fell asleep in a train station right across from a police station. When I woke up, I had a bag that I had wrapped around my arm, as if this was going to be protection because I was obliterated. I wrapped the bag around my arm and I laid down. When I come to, it's a regular working day in Copenhagen, Denmark. It's a regular working day. People are hustling, bustling, the trains, they're moving around, moving all about me. Bag's gone. I had, this is when I first started producing. I was like, I had like hundreds of beats on a drive. I had like thousands of euros in that bag. I had countless notebooks, just, an excessive amount of items in there. I had my laptop in there. Everything was gone. Mind you, also in there was my identification.
Wow. Damn, man.
I'm in a foreign country. My identification is gone. Everything is gone. And I'm in a circumstance where, what am I going to do? I ended up being able to go to, they were having and it was a weekend. This was a weekend. So I'm supposed to be in London in about, I think, 6 hours or something like that. I'm supposed to be in London. I wake up, I don't even know where I'm at in relation to my hotel, into relation to the club. So I went walking the neighborhood, navigating. I found the club, which connected me to the hotel I was in, which, kind of led me into, because I'm still obliterated.
Yeah.
For the most part, right?
Right.
So long story short, I ended up, out of a miracle situation, was able to get a temporary passport to travel to London. I traveled with no identification. I traveled to London. And immediately, like, this whole embarrassing weight was on me for the remainder of this tour, because I just knew I had, let so many people down. I had done so much to do myself a disservice, and I had lost because, I was up and I was down after that, as far as finances and everything. I lost so much on that tour. And that was a beginning point. I didn't quit drinking then, but that was a absolute trigger point for me, where I was recognizing, because so many circumstances similar to that had happened, but that was like one of those in your face, like you're being too brash and you're being too out there in front of, everybody, and the ego is running wild. And then my ego got checked. Like I was just chin checked. And I had to go home and start doing some thinking, reevaluating. And, I was in the process already of doing this health and wellness thing, as far as, being plant-based, and not that had been going on for a while now. But there were other aspects of my life where I was just attempting to purify. A few years prior, I had, quit smoking cigarettes. Cigarettes was a serious problem for me. And I quit smoking cigarettes. And so step by step, I was like maneuvering out. I was like, I quit cigarettes, quit drinking milk, quit the pork. I was eating pork excessively. That's one of the worst things. If anybody out there is eating pork, you can be eating anything, but please get rid of the pork in your life. Get rid of that if you're putting that in your body. But that period really was like kind of like a paradigm shift for me, I think, even though I still had to like bump into a few more walls, but it was a circumstance like that kind of like, hit home and created a circumstance for me to be like, okay, it's time for me to start healing, start doing better. A great one for me was when I met my queen, and she started being my teacher, like a real teacher. And she was like the first person I could speak to and really I could listen to, and it started to click. Even though there were many people on my path who kind of said a lot of the things that she said to me, she just came at the right time. And she kind of saved me at the right time, spoke to me in a voice at the right time that resonated. So everybody out there, you could be getting, it might be over and over from a best friend. It might be over and over from, a parent or a child, or like anybody, but like somebody's going to come through and it'll just click, and the message will be received in a different way. And for me, it was my queen. She sat me down and she slowed me down with the yoga. She helped me to pace myself with my breathing, to get to the point where I was like, okay, I'm comfortable sitting, because I couldn't sit still.
Wow.
So like she helped me to sit down and slow down my breathing. The reason I quit smoking cigarettes is because I was told I had high blood pressure, and I was gonna have to take lisinopril for the rest of my life, and I was like, I'm not taking medication for the rest of my life, and I was like, I'm not gonna be a statistic. I'm not gonna be, a representation of black dying young,
Right.
So, you
Right.
know, I had to change the quality of my life, and drinking was the last stance on that path, and it's because of choice. Like I was choosing to keep it in the path, but now with where I am, where my joy is, and
Yeah.
where my energy is at, it does not fit, and it hasn't fit for a long period of time. But it clicks when it clicks. So judgment-free zone when it comes to me. I'm not judging anybody
Right.
on their path. But when you get there, you get there. And if you ever need assistance, I'm an ear. I'm definitely here to listen. And I love that you have this platform that gets people to a safe space.